right, guys, we're back. Today we're going to be talking about coyote traps, the different kinds of traps that there are. This is by no means a comprehensive list, but these are the ones that we have, the ones that we run, why we run them, the different prices, and at the end of the day, and I guarantee you in this episode, me and him are going to have very different opinions on this, but we're going to talk about which ones are our favorite and why it's our favorite. So we're going to start off. This is a Bridger number 3, dogless 2-coil. We've talked about this in previous episodes. There is nowhere in West Virginia or Ohio that you need a 4-coil. You don't need them. He brings up a good point talking about how whenever the ground's froze, sometimes they have a hard time busting out. But unless you're trapping in below zero weather for weeks on end, and I'm not going to lie, I personally
use wax dirt.
Yeah, just use wax dirt. We saw it on the website. You can get it off Mike Murray on Murray's Lures. Just you don't need it. You don't need 4-coil. You're just making it harder on yourself to set them. And just going off of that, let's say that you have a coyote or a cat set up and you catch a fox on accident. If you catch a fox in any of these traps that are 4-coiled, its leg's broke. Its leg is broke. You ain't got no chance.
I don't think, unless you got the thin jaws or something, I really don't think that the actual broken part comes for when it snaps.
I think it's when
I
they're
think
fighting.
it's when they're fighting, because a fox is wild in a trap. It's worse than a house cat.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll go ahead and we'll start out with the Bridger number 3 dogless. This is by far one of my favorite traps. For one, it's dogless, and they're cheap. They're super cheap. We're going to go over the prices here in a little bit. They've got a really, really nice pan size, which you'll see in the close-up that we'll be showing. But super nice pan size, really nice jaw spread, easy to set, just an overall really nice trap. The only thing that I don't like about this one is it's not laminated.
Yep.
They got real thin jaws. I wish that I had some laminated dogless. I don't. This one's just a standard jaw. It is offset, so that helps. But I really think that they need the lamination.
Yeah, you need that bigger surface area. That way it's more comfortable in the animal, whether he's got to sit there, if he gets caught early night, or in the morning after you run traps, or however you can run traps if you got to wait till in the evening. I mean, most of my stuff, it has springs on it. That way that when they fight, it just takes that jolt out of them.
Exactly. It just keeps them from hurting themselves. But overall, I think it's a great trap. We're going to pan over to the second trap. This is a standard Bridger number 3. The only difference is this one's OL. It's outside laminated, which is what we were talking about. If the Bridger number 3 dogless was outside laminated, I think that it would be a better trap than this one. I personally like this trap. The only thing I don't like about it is, for number 1, it's not dogless. I love dogless traps. And number 2, the pan is not as big. It's still not a small pan, but it's not a big pan. I think if you put a modified pan on it, it'd be a great trap. I just can't get myself to like it as much as the dogless one, just because of the pan size.
I'm a dogless fan.
That's what I'm saying.
But if I got to run anything with a dog, it's coming up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we'll go ahead and we're going to go over to the third trap, which is an MB550. We talked a little bit about this one in our fox trapping video. We gave it a little bit of hate for the fox, but I'm telling you right now, there is no way I'm giving this thing any grief on coyotes.
None.
It is a coyote catching machine. I couldn't even guess how many thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands, coyotes been caught in these traps.
It's crazy.
They're a solid built trap. They got those big cast jaws. They're super, super nice. There's nothing wrong with them. The only thing I don't like about them, they do have a smaller pan, which a lot of MB traps are known for. But you can modify that. There's stuff on the market you can buy to modify that.
But the good thing about having a smaller pan is you avoid the crap catches, the toe catches. I mean, a catch is a catch, but usually when you get him to step in this little area, you got his entire paw.
Yeah, he's not getting away.
And then you're paying attention. I mean, it just depends whether you get a toe catch or you get a full pad catch.
Yeah, they're just an all-around excellent trap. Super, super great traps.
Bed's great. I mean, it's just an overall, hands down, one of my personal favorites.
It is. It's an amazing trap.
Easy to set.
But we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to another MB trap, which is an MB650. I personally like the 650 a lot more for cats than I do for canines. I don't have a lot of them. I don't think that there's a lot of value gained monetarily wise going from a 550 to a 650.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, they're just a little bit bigger. They have a nicer pan on them. I think that the way that they run with that MB specific dog style is really neat. But they're not my favorite trap. They're by far not my favorite trap. The one thing that is nice about them is now you can get them in the cast jaws, which, man, they just look super
Oh, yeah.
nice. They look really nice with the new cast jaws. And even before the cast jaws, you could get a standard jaw, which no one really cared for, I don't think. Or you could get the inside lamination, outside lamination, or both. You could get the OL-IL lamination, which is just super, super nice. Adam's going to show you what the cast jaws
This
look
one's
like.
just, it's a cast.
A super, super heavy jaw.
It's not, I just got to, and this is what we was talking about with the pan size. You can make your pans bigger. It's just like this when I got it, and then I switched the jaws out because I like a heavy jawed trap.
One thing that I will note that we're not going to be talking about the price section. If you get the traps with the cast jaws, they're a good bit more expensive. I think you add like $5.
Yeah, they're. You go to if you already have these traps and you want to replace them, they will fit right on them. They switch right in and out. It's not gonna say it's the easiest thing to do in the world, but it can be done because I done it.
Yeah. But they're both great traps. I'm not discounting them at all. I don't have a problem with them. I just personally don't feel like the value gain is there with them.
But they bed super nice. There's no loose jaws. They are solid jaws the whole way. Nothing moves. They are a terrific trap to bed.
Yeah, an overall a really nice trap. I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let Adam talk about these two traps because they're his babies. I don't personally own any, but he's got a bunch of them. Adam, you can take them away.
Just like I said in the fox traps, they're tanks. There's no coyote on the face of this earth that I think could bend these. They're just terrific. Base plates are heavy. Levers are all heavy. The jaws, and I like I say, I like the big heavy jaws, so I got outside laminations on all mine.
Yeah, the no BS doesn't mess around. K9 Extremes and the K9 Extreme Juniors are just both super nice.
These are the same brand traps. This is just a junior, and this is just an extreme.
Both of them have super nice pans too.
They are amazing, and you'll see in some other videos for cats, hands down.
Super, super great traps. They're tanks. So now let's go ahead and go over prices. We have these organized the same way that we normally do. We've got them from cheapest to most expensive. If I went on to Murray's or if I went on to somewhere like Men Trap Prod, how much would a Bridger number 3 Douglas run?
Those ones run about $16.25 a piece.
Which that's a relatively decent price for an in-trap coyote trap. It's a super great trap. I run them all the time. I love them. Like I said, I would recommend to get one that's laminated. That's a mistake that I made. I did get an offset, which is acceptable, but lamination is definitely the way to go.
It's just a necessity. Everything of mine has big, thick jaws. Everything I use for coyotes, fox, cats, everything is laminated.
Yeah, I definitely think it's very
cast.
important. Yeah, very important. Next, we're going to move over to the Bridger number 3. This is just a standard 2-coil. It's not dogless. It's got a standard dog, but this one's outside laminated. How much does that one
Those run about $21 a piece.
Yeah, so you've got a considerable jump going from one that's just offset dogless to one that's got the outside lamination. Well, what is that, about a $5 jump?
Yeah.
Yeah, and which honestly, if $5 might not sound like a lot, but most people that are going to buy canine traps, you're not going to buy them in less than a dozen. So that $5 can make a difference. That's just something that you want to keep in mind. Now we're going to go to one of the all-time favorites. Everyone knows them. Everyone loves them. How much do the offset MB550s cost?
They run about $20.90 a piece.
That's a considerable jump.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can't discount it. I mean, they're a great trap.
Just the base plates. Everything about them, they're heavy.
It's a trap that whenever it comes to your house in the mail, outside of just waxing and dime, they're ready to go.
Sometimes when you get these ones in the box, sometimes you got to modify it. Sometimes you need to bend a lever, need to adjust the pan. These ones straight out of the box. I don't even touch mine. I get the oil off of them. If your wife lets you, run them in the dishwasher on pan. I love my wife loves me, so she lets me do that. But if they got a real bad stench, let them sit outside for a little while. Get rid of that first.
But yeah, they're just an all-around great trap. We'll go ahead and we'll move on to the MB650. I do feel like I don't think it's a considerable jump, but there is a jump in price. How much do those ones run for?
Those run about $21.95 a piece.
Yeah, so you've only got about $1 to $2 jump. It obviously depends if you're getting the cast or the regular jaw, or the inside outside laminated. There is like we said, there's a considerable price jump.
It varies within a few dollars, I think.
But I would, just like we were talking about earlier, I would make sure if you get that 650, do not get a regular jaw trap. That trap is way too strong.
Too strong, too thin jaw.
Yeah, so we would both recommend getting the cast. I mean, it is just a nice looking
If
set
you
of
can
jaws.
afford the cast, I'm going to tell you right now, if I was doing it and knew about them then, but when I first started trapping, I started seeing these, I thought I had to have them, so I ended up buying inside-outside lamination, makes that jaw way bigger.
Yeah, it's a great trap.
But I'm going to tell you hands down, if I'd have known about it then, I'd have had all those.
Yeah, you need that cast. And if you can't afford the cast, if you can't afford the cast, I would at least get the inside-outside laminated.
At least an outside lamination.
Yeah, you need that area.
That outside, that's your little extra catch area.
It just keeps the animal from getting tore up and hurting
That's
itself. So how much does the Canine Extreme Junior run?
They run about $23.95 a piece.
So you're looking at like $1 more than a 650.
Yeah, but you get so much more trap. I mean,
Yeah.
If you trap off a buggy, I'm just gonna say if you got to pack them on your back, you probably don't want to fool with too much of this stuff.
Yeah, super heavy traps.
Yeah, you probably want to stick with a Duke or something that's made thin.
Yeah.
But as far as if you got to trapping off a buggy, a four wheeler, I mean, I run drags, so everything of mine's heavy. I trap off my old Honda side to side set.
And that's a great point. That's something that people need to consider because even though these traps are better, they're way heavier.
They're heavy.
So if you're a pack trapper, and now look, if you're going out to set 3 or 4 traps, it don't matter what you're getting.
Yeah, if you're only going out setting half a dozen, I mean, I'd say a dozen of those probably weigh almost 50 pounds.
And that's not even including the drags.
That's not including your drags, your anchors, whatever you're going to use. And your extra tools if you got to carry to drive a stake in the ground or anything.
I mean, you're talking a lot of weight if you got to carry that stuff around.
Right.
So how much, the biggest, beefiest trap we've got, the Canine Extremes, just the regular old 2-coil, how much do those run?
Those run about $23.95 a piece.
So they're really not that much more expensive than the juniors.
And just look at the size difference. Your catching area. Your pan's a little bigger. I mean, you got to face it. Whenever you're coyote trapping, I mean, you want as much area as you can possibly get in. You don't want a 1.5 trying to catch a coyote because a coyote's got a pretty big sized paw. You want something that's going to be big enough to accommodate his hand and give you a little room for air if he steps off to the side. You can still get him.
But they're all great traps.
They are all amazing traps.
So you've got stuff in the price range from about $13 to $15 all the way up to almost $25.
Yep.
And once again, like we said, I know that $10 may not sound like a lot, but whenever you're buying a lot of traps, I mean, between me and Adam, we probably have at least this is a rough guesstimate, we probably have at least between 500 and 750 traps. That's a lot of traps.
That's a lot.
You know what I mean? You're talking in quantities like that, you're talking about thousands of dollars in difference. So I would definitely, if you're price conscious, I would take all of the price into mind. I know why you would. And I know that's why a lot of people run Dukes. We didn't put a Duke up here because I'm going to be honest, I'm not super happy with any Duke traps for coyotes.
And like I say, unless you catch him and he's only in there for about an hour or so where he tearing stuff up, that's the only way a Duke's going to last very long.
Yeah.
I don't have time to sit around and work on traps after I catch something. I just want to be able to set my trap back in the ground after I get done, and I want to be able to cover it over, get it all packed in. I want to head down the road to the next trap.
And just to emphasize, we are both aware that Duke makes their MB, or they're not called MB. That's what they are. They're MB ripoffs.
They're knockoffs,
but
they're just not made near as good as this stuff. Because I have a couple of them, and my dog was venturing around. She's just a little mountain cur. She got caught in it. Just bent the levers, bent the pans. She wasn't in it for 2 minutes. Just bent it all up.
Yeah, it's not even. They might look exactly the same, but there's a big difference.
Big difference in the steel.
Yeah, they're not even close to the same trap. So now that we know the price, now that we know the characteristics of the traps, Adam, what is your favorite canine trap? I already know what it is, but you can tell me.
Well, I love these traps right here just because I love them. but my all-time favorite has got to be an MB550.
It's just a classic.
It's a classic. That's kind of what I started around with, and then I ran into these, and I'm like I said, this is probably my second or third year of having these ones. I've caught several coyotes in them. I really like them, but it's hard to beat a 550. It's a classic.
You know what? That actually shocks me. I was 100% expecting you to say that the Canine Extremes were your favorite.
I usually typically set these ones first. I do love the 550s, but usually I will start with these just because I'm a square-jawed person. I don't know why. I just like the way they look.
I agree.
But I also look, because you're trapping the hills of West Virginia where we're from, I mean, you got to think of everything else. We got fox, we got bobcat, we got everything here. So we try to use what we like.
I got you. Well, I'm going to give you my opinion. Now, I was raised coyote trapping on two different traps. We always either used MB550s or we would use something like a Duke number 2 or a Duke number 3. That's what I was raised trapping on. So before I tell you what my favorite is, I am not discounting an MB550 at all. They're a great trap. I love them. My dad always used them. We always used 550s, 450s. We've used everything. And MB550s are my second favorite trap. They're my second favorite. My favorite trap is the Bridger number 3 dogless. And the reason why, they are super cheap, dirt cheap. They have a great pan, big surface area. Like I said, the only thing I don't like about this one is that it don't got no lamination. If this thing had lamination, it would be perfect.
You can fix that.
Yeah,
Little welder.
Yeah, like you said, if you've got a welder, you don't even got to pay him to laminate it. You can do it yourself.
If you like to tinker with traps, you can grab that one with no laminations and just tack you a few little pieces of number 9 wire across it. That's enough.
Yeah, but
that's all a
great
lamination
trap.
is a number 9 wire, pretty much.
Just a great trap. I mean, you can go and you can pick up a dozen, and a dozen coyote traps are not going to be cheap no matter what you get. But you can pick up a dozen of these for $150. That is a great deal for a dozen coyote traps.
When I first started buying these ones, I don't know why, but they were pretty well the same price. They're a little bigger trap, a little smaller trap, but I paid, I think it was $251 when they first came out. I'm sure they've went up since then. But shipped right to my front door, this was $251 a dozen. That's pricey.
Yeah, and you're talking about $100 a dozen savings on these traps.
I have three dozen. I think there's there's 3 dozen of these ones, and I got a dozen of these ones, and they were very expensive. My wife wasn't happy.
So you can take from this what you want. We both agree that MB550 is a great trap. It's my second favorite. It's his first favorite, which honestly shocked me. I did not see that coming. But if you're looking for a great cheap trap, go with the Bridger number 3 dogless. If you're looking for an amazing, relatively affordable trap, an MB550, and if you're wanting to have something with all of these characteristics put together but with a higher price point, I'd go with an OBS trap, either a Canine Extreme Junior or just a straight old Canine Extreme. They're all amazing traps. They all have their place in different parts of the country. It all goes down to trapping style and your personal belief. But either way, thank you guys very much for coming out today. We appreciate you joining us for this episode on coyote traps. If you enjoyed the video, leave us a like. If you have any questions on traps, whether it has to do with coyotes, fox, beaver, coon, or anything, leave us a comment down in the comment section. You can share this video with anyone that you know. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And don't forget, have a great day. Bye.